Sometimes, the most precious moments of existence emerge not from following the directives of experts, but from stepping off their well-trodden path. Consider a scenario where a woman named Clara faced a dire crossroads after a diagnosis of late-stage kidney cancer. A cadre of specialists from a renowned university hospital and a cutting-edge clinic swiftly assembled, unfurling a tapestry of aggressive interventions, tissue sampling, plasma infusions, and a kidney drainage tube. Typically, such a barrage of recommendations from illustrious establishments would prompt swift agreement, the discussion concluding with a nod to authority. Yet skepticism born from an understanding of the healing arts prompted a deeper inquiry. Probing revealed a stark reality. These measures offered a mere 1 in 3 shot at adding a handful of weeks to Clara's timeline, an equal chance of hastening her end, and another third of leaving her days unchanged, though tethered to a sterile room far from the warmth of kin. Every option carried the weight of isolation, amplified by pandemic-era restrictions, with the potential for extended confinement if complications arose, a frequent shadow over those with weakened defenses. Clara's cancer was already eroding. Her kidney function, her body steadily dismantling its own vitality, rendering the odds bleaker and the proposed interventions riskier. She'd be bound to frequent, draining hospital visits despite barely managing to rise from her cot. Amid a locked-down world, her solitude in those clinical chambers loomed as a near certainty. Clara voiced a quiet resolve to her physician. No fear of the approaching dusk, only a wish to sidestep avoidable torment in her twilight. Still, the machinery of medicine churned forward, advocating for the very anguish she sought to evade, bristling at any challenge to its momentum. No malice drove the physician's counsel. Rather, it stemmed from a system where each invasive step fattened institutional coffers by tens of thousands, a subtle thread tying the healer's livelihood to the scalpel's edge. Confirmation came in a stark exchange. So, the plan is a probing procedure that might, at best, nudge her days forward by a month, while risking her passing alone in a ward, despite clear evidence from scans and blood markers that this is advanced kidney cancer with failing organs? The response, a calm, unwavering yes. With the family's unwavering chorus behind her, Clara opted to forego the probing rites, choosing instead the embrace of home over the cold hum of hospital machinery. The recommended path seemed less about her well-being and more about ticking boxes, satisfying protocols, algorithms, and revenue streams. In that moment, pity swelled for those navigating such crossroads without a compass, lacking someone to decode the system's hidden currents and dare to question its flow, rather than surrendering Clara to a clinical abyss, where the faces of her loved ones might fade to memory. The journey turned toward a seaside cottage in a quiet hamlet. There, her final chapter unfolded in communion with those she cherished. On her last lucid day, faint and faltering in speech, Clara rallied briefly, urging a pilgrimage to her chosen resting place, a windswept bluff cradling a meadow, mere moments from her doorstep. Wheeled to the spot, she marveled at the expanse of sea and the sentinel oaks soon to shelter her. In a tender tableau, she drew her husband close, hands framing his weathered face, their eyes weaving a silent tapestry of a lifetime's joy and grace. Against the murmur of waves, their parting clasp distilled life's essence into a fleeting, radiant breath. "It's so vast, so lovely," she murmured, encircled by her clan at her journey's end. Soon after, awareness slipped away, and, 2 days hence, hands entwined around her, she crossed the threshold. Those 12 days of closeness became a luminous thread in the fabric of memory, moments that the system's rigid script would have unraveled. The urge to act in the halls of medical training, whispers of a seasoned healer echo. Step into an oncology ward, and the knives will gleam, needed or not. Picture a young surgeon rattled after witnessing a patient pressed into an unneeded incision, advocating instead for gentle care that cradles comfort over cure. Too often, such pleas are drowned by the roar of tradition, seniors scoffing at anything short of the blade, demanding waivers from those who resist, leaving them adrift with scant options for softer paths. The scales tip heavily in this exchange. Patients, gripped by mortal dread, clutch at any lifeline dangled by those in white coats rarely poised to push back. Few enter this craft to prey on vulnerability. Medicine's grueling odyssey, with its years of study, sleepless trials, and towering debts, hardly paves a quick road to riches. Most begin as dreamers, fueled by visions of banishing affliction, their families beaming at their ascent. The early grind, debt-laden and haze-eyed, feels noble, a crucible forging greatness through grit. Yet, over time, that flame dims to ash. Conversations among peers turn to weariness, to doubts about the toll. Some confess crafting exit letters in their minds. Others fantasize of quieter trades, perhaps kneading dough under a dawn sky. Supervisors lament stolen hours with their young, some crumbling under the strain, tears staining sterile floors. Burnout festers, and the shadow of despair claims too many. Medicine's toll outpacing all trades in lost souls. In hushed tones, a truth emerges. These healers feel caged. In a fractured engine, debts chain them, and the mantle of their title binds their sense of self, leaving little room to leap free. At its core, the system thrives on a simple pulse. Every cog in the health machine, hospitals, drug makers, academies, insurers, grows. Fat when sickness reigns and starves when wellness blooms. Imagine a visitor from beyond the stars, tasked with wielding 4 trillion coins to mend humanity's ailments. Gazing at a landscape where most ruin stems from preventable rot, excess weight, sugar-spiked blood, clogged hearts, would they funnel wealth into endless patches for the ill, ignoring the roots? Yet, here we stand, pouring treasure into a cycle that feeds the beast, not the cure. Acute trust, chronic doubt, many guides close with a nod to consult the experts. Here's a counterpoint. When grappling with the slow creep of lifelong maladies, blind faith in the system falters. This isn't gloom, it's clarity. Peeling back the incentives reveals a structure unworthy of unchecked trust, the first stride toward wielding one's own helm. Take Clara's tale. For decades, she danced through the gilded doors of elite clinics, yearly scans, routine checks, the best care coin could buy. Still, her cells betrayed her, unhealed by the potions dialed. To tweak her numbers, kidney cancer, like many lingering scourges, often bends to habits of vigor, yet no sage in those hallowed halls pressed her to fortify her frame's deep workings. Only when collapse loomed did they unsheath their boldest tools. Questions arise. Hasn't this system birthed wonders doubling our years? Indeed, sewage pipes, battlefield stitches, and germ killers have stretched our span, triumphs over sudden threats. Acute crises yield to such feats, but they're fleeting customers. Since the mid-century, medicine has leveraged that trust to claim dominion over the slow burn of chronic woes, profitable, endless guests. Yet, this reign has crumbled. Silos peddle pills for every ache, statins, sleep aids, mood lifters. while the tide of affliction swells, mocking the trillions, spent. This isn't complexity, it's design. A century ago, a titan of surgery shaped this mold, championing heroic cuts, grueling rites, and a doctrine bankrolled by oil barons spinning cures from black gold. That vision, cemented in law, still rules, though its architect trembled under his own demons, hands unsteady from excess. For broken bones or raging fevers, heed the call. For the creeping shadows of modern life, question every echo. The pull to intervene in academic corridors. A pain guru once steered a panel laced with ties to pill pushers, buoyed by their gifts. Research coffers brim with conflicted gold, hundreds of millions skewing the lens. Even merit badges for healers hinge not on thriving patients, but on scripts written and blades wielded, metrics blind to healing's heart. Hospitals tally points for profit, not peace. A bypass trumps a meal plan every time. You reap what you carve, they say, a chilling creed where action, not outcome, fills the purse. When a patient dares to sidestep the knife, seeking roots over razors, the rebuke stings. We're not here to play nutritionist. Billing thrives on deeds, not deeds undone, codes for cuts, not counsel. The war cries ring loud, banish the blight, but only after the battle's lost. The finest minds wield the same tools, rote and rigid, their brilliance dimmed by the script's sameness. The silent betrayal, the gravest deceit, the system's mute tongue on what truly fells us, the plate and the pace. If titans of health thundered for cleaner fare or rising dawn, ears would perk. Past cries curbed smoke and skewed plates, proof of sway. Yet today, silence reigns as youth slump, unfit for service, gorged on ad-soaked sludge. No outrage greets the billions peddling junk to tender minds, or the subsidies fattening the trough. The guardians of wellness, peddlers of hearts, sugars, nerves, stay mum, pockets lined by the very hands that sow the seeds of ruin. This isn't a cabal, but a ledger's cold truth. Sickness pays, health does not. Patients aren't frail by choice. They're caught in a grind where cheap hooks and costly fixes dance as one. A dawn within reach. This tale isn't despair, it's a spark. Once plague and hunger ruled, now mastery over sudden death dazzles. The system teems with brilliance, yet it's adrift, fattening on frailty. Chronic care's promise has frayed, life's thread barely lengthened beyond infection's fall, despite wealth's flood. Change lags, but power stirs below. Tools abound to claim vitality anew, simple acts to stoke the ember within, warding off tomorrow's shadow.